From Warsak, our road ran straight to the cleft in the grey hills that marked the foot of the Khyber. It was impossible not to feel a certain schoolboy excitement. So we began the climb to the Afghan frontier in the very jaws of history. Down this steep and desolate gorge, invaders through 25 centuries have marched into India. Darius the Persian, Genghis Khan's descendant Babur the Turk, who founded the Mughal dynasties, and other great names. It's a roadside museum of perished Asian glories. Buddhist temples 2,000 years old stand in the pass, cheek by jowl with modern fortresses. But none of the big new forts might we film, for with Afghanistan under Russian influence and Pakistan firmly allied to the west, the Khyber is still very much a strategic area, by order. It's the only pass across these mountains that's open all the year. Today there's a railway to the summit, and a motor road that's bumpy in places but finely engineered. The British built it. Civilians as well as soldiers eyed our film unit with suspicion. One Pathan chieftain threatened to shoot us for filming his old walled village. This is because some strict Muslims feel that photography is the work of the devil. One still needs a permit to enter tribal territory, and the Khyber's closed at night. Regimental badges near the summit reminded me that the last foreign invaders here were the British. Only 40 years ago they marched up to attack Afghanistan. Here I found the Gordon Highlanders, the Cheshire Regiment, the Dorsets with their motto, First in India, the South Wales Borderers, and the Essex Regiment, the Pompadours. The young Winston Churchill was one of the many British soldiers who fought on the frontier. But now the British are gone, and today the famous Khyber Rifles is an entirely Pakistani regiment. We were now at the crest of the pass, with the light beginning to fade, and a chill wind blowing from the Central Asian plateau. But curiously, I had much less sense of austere isolation than in the Pyrenees, or even parts of the Yorkshire moors. Then at last we sighted the mountains of Afghanistan, snow-peaked in the distance, stretching away beyond Kabul to the Russian frontier and the golden road to Soviet Samarkand. Below us, an Afghan mule caravan passed on the long, lonely journey from Kabul to Peshawar. There are two routes through the Khyber, a motor road and beside it a caravan track. There on the wrong one. Where's Mr. Marples? The frontier post. Across this gate lies Afghanistan, the mysterious backward land that few Westerners visit. A semi-feudal state where a king rules in his palace at Kabul. An Afghan soldier guards the way. The Afghans are great traders. Their caravans still ply this immemorial route that has linked the markets of India with those of Central Asia, with towns like Bukhara and Samarkand. But nowadays not so many of them can cross into Russia. I found one camel caravan resting in the pass on the road to Peshawar. Many Afghans are nomadic gypsies of Pathan stock, who spend each winter in the Pakistan plains to escape the cold of the Afghan heights. They cross the border without passports. 5,000 of these Pawinder gypsies have recently fled into Pakistan as refugees from Russian persecution. In the bazaar at Peshawar, I met an Afghan gypsy trader who had just arrived from Kabul with his camels. He had come to sell fruit, nuts, sugar and sheepskins, and would take back shoes, cloth and household goods to sell in Kabul. He said the camel caravans, which took 12 days from Kabul, were now under fierce competition from lorries which could do it in a day. I asked him about his country's problems. Are there lots of Russians in your country?
Yes, he says that there are many Russians here.
What are the Russians doing in your country?
مسلمانان یې ښې که ورسیان ښې
روسیان
ورسیان چې دي هلته کارونه کوي سړک جوړوي کارخانې جوړوي دا کار کوي مزدوري کوي
Russians are building roads and factories there.
Is it true that the Russians are training your army in Red Army methods?
دا پوښتنه کوي چې هغه چې راځي نو هغه ستاسو هلته تاسو ته ټریننګ ورکوي تعلیم کاریګري
کاریګري راځي
He then told me that he didn't like the Russians. Why not? Because they were atheists and he and other Afghans were devout Muslims. I then bade him farewell with my one word of Urdu.
Thank you very much. Zindabad, Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Zindabad means long live. Peshawar's bazaar is one of the greatest in the East. It's called the Kissa Kwani, the street of the storytellers. Here, as in Homer's Greece, people once used to gather to hear tales of love and war from professional storytellers. The men here lead a free and varied life, but women on the frontier are secluded in purdah more strictly than in most Muslim societies. Peshawar is famous for its handicrafts, jewellery, gold and silver, copperware of all sorts, richly embroidered shoes in gold and silk. A bargain hunter's paradise. Various types of kebab and a soup of sheep's head and feet are local dishes. The men drink quantities of sweet green tea as they sit and chatter. Now it was time to leave the frontier and make for England again. I had found the Pathans adapting themselves to this modern age, but still preserving the integrity and colourful ways of a tough and unusual people.